All righty. How you doing, folks? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with Ross Benjamin from Ross Benjamin Sports, and that's a hot Ross Benjamin. Ross, talk about two hot handicappers right now. 10-2 combined, both of us, the last 2 days. How you doing, Ross Benjamin, for a Monday, August 7th?
Hey, we always joke about our wallets where, you know, the inches keep going up as the days go by, man. So
Yeah,
we're going to have to get our wives to get us new ones for Christmas, I hope, you know.
Hey,
I mean, I've been, Ron, I'm one of those roles. I've won 15 of the last 19 days. Over that time, gone 36-17. That's in all sports with my paid selections. My baseball especially hot, Ron. 23-9 with my last 32.
Wow, that's awesome. And
you know what, Ross? Coming off a 6-0 weekend.
Yeah, 6-0, and like I mentioned off air, I flirt around with parlays sometimes when I feel confident, and hit a nice little 6-teamer yesterday. And you know, it's just for like beer money type money, like $25 on a 6-teamer, and it paid $870 some dollars, so close to $900.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, it's like you say, when you're feeling it, you got to take these chances. And right now, Ross, and it's not as if we're just throwing darts here. Like we're two handicappers who do our
due diligence.
Yeah, exactly. And we've been, this ain't our first barbecue and our first rodeo, right?
No. And that 18 parlay that Ron hit, don't try that at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, and my 24-hour rule's in effect, right? You always enjoy those.
Absolutely.
You got to enjoy those, right? And so and plus, a good way to start a birthday today. This is the big 5-2 today, Ross.
Oh wow! Happy birthday, buddy!
Thanks, bud.
I would have known. I would have started the broadcast with singing it for you.
Yeah, no.
We would have probably lost some customers. So or some viewers, I should say.
So maybe I don't play any bets today, so ruin my day, right?
I want to say this, and we're both talking about how well we're doing, and keep our fingers crossed that continues. But we're going to run into a bad day or two. The big key here, folks, when you're on a nice run like we are, just don't get too cocky. Remember the work ethic you put in to get to that point, because even me and Ron on occasion, and I can't speak for Ron, I can speak for myself, we tend to get a little bit too cute and feel invincible when we're on this kind of runs. And these kind of runs can abruptly turn real quickly if you get away from what got you there. Does that make sense, Ron?
Absolutely. Like that happened to me last week, Ross. I'm not going to sit here and say, I fart roses here. Last week I had 2 bad days, offers. I had 2 offers. I think it was Thursday and Friday, 0-3 and 0-3. It was 2 bad days. Yeah. And then what I did after on Saturday is I cut my plays in half until I got my confidence back from a betting perspective. And I gave 2 members play and 1 free play. But normally when I go into the tank like that, cut the damage and cut your plays in half until you get your – and Ross, that's a great point. It's great money management tip that you just – because, hey, there's days you just don't, you don't feel confident. You said it last week that you made some plays that you just said, oh, God, I hope they –
that was Thursday. And I made 2 plays, Ron, and I said, for whatever reason, I had that 0-2 feeling when I said, man – I don't feel good about this today. And sure enough, it's, and there's been days I've gone 2-0 feeling that way. Yeah. But, and that's the point too. I mean, money management's a big asset. If you have proper money management, you're one step ahead of the game. And that's the most difficult thing to get across to paying clients sometime, Ron.
Absolutely. And folks, you can find the Raymond Report with Ross Benjamin each and every day, Monday to Friday, right here on our YouTube channel. You can find Ross on the OSGA YouTube channel and the Raymond Reports -ATS stats, or just type in the Raymond Report and you'll be able to find us. And Ross, you know what? The SBI Sports Betting Index, and I gave a little a report yesterday on the weekend edition of the Raymond Report, and I did a little bit of research, and we talked about this. Well, let's dive right into it. The favorites. Man, I know we joked about it off air, but I got a feeling, look at the favorites yesterday. 12-2, 11-5 on.
You want to get that up on screen, my man.
Hey,
I know it's your birthday.
it wouldn't be a Monday if I didn't pull
We're giving you a break because it's your birthday.
Okay. It wouldn't be Monday if I didn't pull that. Yeah, there we go. All right. Folks, look at the favorites. We've been talking about it all year.
Yeah.
12-2 yesterday to the favorites, 11-5 on Saturday, 12-1 on Friday. Now add that up. That's 35-8 on the week. Ross, I know I joked out offline. I said, the bookmakers are going to stop putting money line, just put spread lines. I'm joking, but I'm not. I got a feeling we might see some like Yankee lines, -1.5, just no money line. Because if the favorites continue like this, maybe that's why I think I hit my 6-teamer yesterday, because it was full of chalk. Because I followed the SBI. And this is why, Ross, I created this tool last year, is to get a pulse on the market condition, see where the psychology. I love your term, think like a bookmaker.
Yeah.
I think you should trademark that, because it's such a great term. And hey, Ross, look at the favorites. How can you not when
Yeah, scroll down even further. I'm seeing a lot of green.
It's like a Hallmark Christmas card.
Yeah, exactly. Since we reconvened with sports on 7/23, that's Major League Baseball, excuse me, on 7/23. We're looking at what, 5 winning days total for the underdogs, basically. When this happens, the book's got to be taking a beating, because as good a handicappers as we are and some of the people in this industry are, it doesn't take much to take favorites all the time. You got to be careful, folks. Again, if you're going to just do this blind, as I alluded to, going into Sunday, favorites of 160 to 150 have cashed at a 63% rate. But 151 and above are a little above that 63% rate, but they're losing money for the year. So don't get caught up too much on just blindly playing favorites.
Well, and this is where the law of average for me, the Raymond report, is based on, right? But look at this, Ross. 66.1% of the favorites so far. This will. I don't think you'll ever see that again. Going into week 4 of MLB. Now, Ross, I did some research on the weekend. Check these numbers out. Teams that are pick 'em to -120 prior to yesterday. So this doesn't include yesterday's game. 30-12 straight up. -120 to 140, 51-32. -140 to 160 price, 34-17, and prices of 160 to 180, 37-14. Now, it seems there's more value in road favorites. Pick 'em to -120, 11-2, and looking at -120 to 140, 25-14, and 140 to 160, 14-6. So Ross, these, we were onto something early on here, and if people picked it up, the -101 to 150, hey, and you're right. Anybody can pick favorites, and we lucked out. We're not sitting here that, we don't have a crystal ball or tomorrow's newspaper in front of us. But hey, but when you are an informed sports bettor, informed gambler, handicapper, and you do your research, you do your homework, you do your time. When I was in the military, we call it time in. Do your time, and if you put in the time, you will get the results. Yeah. Now,
you make your own luck too, see, and I'm a thorough believer of that too. So, Ron, it's just incredible how the rate of these favorites are coming in so high. I started doing Major League Baseball underdog pick videos last year, and started the beginning of this year too. And I disbanded doing it because a lot of people out there don't appreciate how hard it is to win with underdogs, finding the proper value. So if you go 1-1 on a day, they look at it 1-1. They don't look at like you're making a profit. Well, and number 2, when favorites are hitting at this rate, there's no way I'm going to dabble into picking underdogs on a daily basis. That's ridiculous.
And this is why I say, Ross, whenever the favorites are coming in like this, and you're in a bull market, anytime we're in a bull market like this, and you just like you're saying, okay, you know what, dogs are about to have their days. To me, you don't. It's almost as if you're in a bull or bearish market, you go towards the totals.
Yeah, you don't go against the streaks, like you said.
Exactly.
I mean,
And this is anytime we're in a bullish.
Occasions. Yeah.
And if you feel really strong about your favorites, then you, like I did yesterday, you still do it. If you don't, and you're realizing, you say to yourself, okay, this won't last forever. I'm not betting in a bull market. I'm not betting in a bear market. So I'm going to bet totals. And totals, look at this. We're in a neutral market, except on the 7-day average.
Yeah, look at the overs up to almost 48% now.
Yeah, that's what we said. Remember, Ross? I said that will creep back up, and eventually what goes up will come down. But anytime you're in a bull or bear market in money line totals for baseball or hockey, get back into the totals because, either you're going to lose your shirt, not trying to catch that falling knife, trying to get the other side of when the things are going to fall back in place. It's impossible. It's like in the stock market, right?
Yeah.
So,
and
right,
you very seldom have to lay a lot of juice with a total. Sometimes you can get even money or even an underdog money line price on a total. So that's the other good thing, right, Ron?
That's right. All right, buddy, we're going to dive right into it here. We're going to go to game number 1. I think this is a doubleheader here today. The Cardinals are going to be playing a lot of doubleheaders. So, And the thing with doubleheaders, like Toronto found out yesterday, 7-inning games, right?
Yeah.
I'll get to that Blue Jay game in a minute. It's making some noise up here, those errors they're doing. St. Louis taking on the Cubs. Now the Cubs sending Kyle Hendricks to the mound here today up against Kwang Young Kim of the Cardinals. And looking at the price here, Ross, 166. Wow, over under 6.5, and that's because of the 7-inning game. 6.75, 3.25, the over under at 10. Now, thank God the Cardinals are playing because Chicago's like having their way with the rest of their division. And now finally Milwaukee gave it to them this weekend, but 13-6. But this is going to be a good series this weekend or this week with the Cubs and Cards.
Yeah, going to go a long way in determining if somebody's going to challenge the Cubs or not. Milwaukee, sweeping them in 3 games. Those Brewers can't win at home, but they're certainly winning on the road. And again, I have to look at the Cardinals for a while, okay, because they're coming off that long layoff. They did start with a doubleheader sweep on Saturday, lost yesterday, were blown out. Again, these doubleheaders are tough, right, Ron? And I would want to bring to attention to the viewers where you see Ron's estimated total on his database to come up at 10. That's based on a 9-inning game. So I just want people to realize that
great
the
point.
system, unfortunately, we didn't know they were going to go to 7-inning doubleheaders until recently. So to make that kind of tweak in a system is, if anybody knows anything about coding and programming, is a nightmare right now. So that's going to stay the same for the entirety of the year.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I forgot about that. And my rule of thumb is I don't touch doubleheader games. I don't bet into them.
Me neither. Very seldom. Very seldom.
Yeah. There's just too much
unknown, right, Ron?
Yeah, too much unknown. Exactly. All right, and on to that, we move to the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, a 136 price, over/under set at 9. ATS forecast, the computer pick, Ross, going to lean with the Baltimore Orioles coming off 6-5 lost 2 of 3 to the Nats over the weekend. And the Blue Jays, man, these guys, they got such a great young squad, but they can't play almost perfect football. Must be football, baseball right now. They're just causing too many errors. And, they're making some moves, like putting Guerrero at first base. It just there's I don't know what's going on with the chemistry with the Blue Jays right now. They're 7-11. They should be better than what their record indicates. But, hey, Tampa Bay, credit them coming back and winning that game yesterday, 7-5. Now, Blue Jays on a 2-game losing streak. The last 4 games for the Orioles have gone over the total. And look at our price here. We had plus 159 on the Blue Jays, so overvalued here. Hyun-Jin Ryu going for the Jays up against Alex Cobb of the Orioles. 34% chance of this game going over the total. I know Blue Jays don't hit well on the road, but we'll see about this one, Ross.
Yeah, I got a real good Major League Baseball money line angle on this game that I'm going to disclose at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that, folks. But the Blue Jays, one thing that I picked up on is Salem Field in Buffalo. That's a hitter's paradise right now. The Blue Jays can't catch a cold in the field, right, Ron? But, 19 home runs over their last 7 games, yet they're sporting a 7-11 record. So it goes hand in hand with Ron's saying. Their fielding is costing them a lot.
Yeah, the only good news here for Toronto is that Baltimore's 0-3 at home this year, coming off a day game. So we'll see if that has any effect here today. Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, man, talk about a series that just used to mean, it was like the old Quebec Nordique Montreal Canadiens or Michigan Ohio State rivalries, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't have that same sexiness that it did when you don't have players. And no disrespect to Boston, but you lose Mookie Betts. He goes to L.A. and he starts hitting like a friggin' like he's like he's Ty Cobb or something, right? and now you get you go last night, but you were competitive last night. Martin Perez getting the nod here today against Jordan Montgomery. 4-2 final last night, respectable on the ESPN Sunday night game. But again, looking at this line, -153 here for the Yankees. The over-under set at 10. The algorithms here it's almost like a respect price here on a prediction on Boston. 4.63, 3.5. The over-under at 8.13. Unless the Yankees sit a lot of players today, I don't know how they get this. Boston gets this one.
Yeah, the Yankees have won since last August. The Yankees have now defeated Boston 10 straight times at Yankee Stadium. So
wow.
Like Ron says, tough to go against the streaks. And the Red Sox come into today having lost 7 straight. The Yankees have won 5 straight. Martin Perez, 5 career starts against the Yankees. All have come since 2015, Ron. In those 5 starts, a monster 9.97 ERA, a 2.12 WHIP, and he allowed 7 home runs and 21 in 2/3 innings pitched. And what's really impressive with the Yankees right now, Ron, is even without Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge in the lineup, who are both sidelined with injuries, they continue to hit home runs at a high rate.
Yeah, no, now they're starting to look like the Yankees of old, right?
Yeah.
And the 4th game of a series, home teams this year in the 4th game at home, 8-7. So, not a really dominant record, but still one that, the positive one for the Yankees. So, if there's a chance to the 4th game to salvage anything, you look at that stat for Boston, you might have a shot here, but, it's still a long shot.
Keep in mind, too, since last year, Ron, the Yankees 28-7 as a home favorite of between -125 to 175.
Yeah, and 9-1 as a home favorite this year. To me, I think you pass. Washington going up against the Atlanta Braves. The Braves a -150 price. Over-under set at 10.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick, going to lean with Atlanta here. 6.25, 4.25. The over-under at 10.5. Now looking at today's starter, you got Tuki Toussaint going for the Braves up against Hannibal Sanchez of the Nats. Not having a good year right there. In his last 3, they're 0-3 under Sanchez starts. And the last 5 games have gone over the total for Washington. Now, Washington coming off 2 of 3 winners in Baltimore this weekend. I know Mad Max, I think he started yesterday over John Means. Or maybe was it yesterday? Or I think it was.
John Means, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, and now
Scherzer got him out to a 5-1 lead, and their bullpen gave it away, and then they had to win at 6-5. Washington.
Wow, that just drives you nuts.
Yeah.
Now you know how Lance Lynn feels there, Mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but looking at today's game, Ross, Atlanta, winning 2-3 over, a Miami team where we're still seeing if they're for real, right? And right now, Atlanta went in there, took 2 of 3. I think they lost 1. They won 2-1 on Saturday. It was that home run off the foul pole.
4-0 yesterday. So their pitching was real good the last 2.
Yeah, so maybe and in Atlanta, really good as a road favorite. I remember yesterday. I think it was
about a favorite period, Ron.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean, if I can interject for a second. What's Atlanta's 13-10 on the year, correct?
Atlanta's
13-10 right now going into today, and they're 1-9 as an underdog, 12-1 as a favorite.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're right. There it is, 12-1. As a home favorite this year, Ross. As a home favorite, they're averaging 5.7 runs for, only giving up 2.75 runs against, according to the Rain report. And this is, Yeah, Atlanta's as a favorite, like you said, there's a mindset that when they're a favorite, they have done very well. And when looking at Washington here, they just got to start stringing some wins together. I know, they got the wrong streak going. They got 5 overs, but it's the win columns they got to start streaking in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned they're 0-3 with Sanchez, and the big reason why is Sanchez's ERA is 9.69 in those 3 starts.
Yeah. And teams that on the road this year against, that's not bad here. Teams that are on the road this year versus opponent with a 51 to 60% win percentage, 19-12. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to go against a hot Atlanta team right now. New York Mets taking on the Miami Marlins. Now, Marlins, we just talked about it, coming off a loss to the Braves, are sending Jordan Yamamoto today up against Robert Shellman of the.
Seems like we've mentioned. How many shows have we done?
I was just about to say that.
It seems like Yamamoto is a projected starter in 7 of those shows, and he's only started 2 games all year.
Yeah, he's like 4 brothers or something, or
So be it in the COVID-19 era, right, Ron?
That or the manager's playing with us. Let's start Yamamoto today. No, let's pull him at the last second. We'll start him.
But they just want us to pronounce his name and look like a fool, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? So 150 is the price on the Mets today up against the Marlins. The over-under is at 9. Forecast going with Miami here, 4.68, 4.51. The over-under set at 9.19. So it does like it to go a hair over the total at Marlins Park today. The Kogo at 63%. And looking at our price today, we had the Mets at plus 135. We had the Marlins at minus 135. So a little bit of a difference right there. I think you got a little good value here with Yamamoto again. And his last 2 games for the Marlins have gone under, and the last 2 for the Mets have gone under. That's why you're seeing the Kogo at 63%. But you know what? I know Miami 9-6 on the year. Is it now is the time? Do we jump off that bandwagon, or do we just at home, or do we?
They've lost their last 2. Again, they've overachieved to this point, Ron. And I mentioned it on Friday, and I'll mention it again. Before it's all said and done, this will be a team with a losing record that won't make the playoffs, even with the expanded 16-team field. The other thing is, Ron, you mentioned Yamamoto 2-0 under this year, but both of those, I believe, were on the road.
Yeah.
Because he's made 9 starts at Marlins Park since the beginning of last season. All 9 games have gone over the total.
Yeah, and the Mets' strength of schedule the last 7 games has been 57.14%, and that's important too, right? Where you got to look at who they played, and they played the opponents that they're winning. They played Nationals and the Phillies. Looking at some of the stats here, Ross, the Mets this year 2-0 as a road favorite, so they haven't been in that role a lot. Only 2-6 in the month of August on the road. And
Gesselman's only making his 2nd start this season, by the way, folks. He only lasted 2 innings in his first outing. It wasn't sharp whatsoever, so keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. And teams that are at home this season, Ross, in the MLBs that are on a 2-game losing streak, the over 21-12. So maybe the Mets, they got to bring their bats here this weekend that can snap that 3-game losing streak. Now, speaking of losing streak, man, what happened to these Detroit Tigers? What's happening? We'll have to call Gardy there and say, hey, Gardy, what's going on here? We're pumping your tires here on the Rain Report. And
now they lost 5 straight, right, Ron?
Yeah, lost 5 straight, coming off an 8-5 loss over the Indians. The Indians swept them on the weekend. And now the White Sox sending Gio Gonzalez today against Matthew Boyd. And, the White Sox got a win yesterday over the Cardinals. But looking at today's game, 11-11 straight up for the White Sox at 500, 9-10 now for Detroit. And we were pumping their tires saying, you know what, between them, Baltimore, and Miami, those were 3 teams that had a lot of value. But right now, and this is part of the performance cycle I always talk about in the Rain Report, shop for value, play the percentages, and follow cycles. Maybe now is a bad cycle for the Tigers. And 48% chance this game going over the total today at Guaranteed Rate Field.
You got to give them a little bit of a pass because they played Cleveland over the weekend and they were swept in 3 games, part of that 5-game losing streak. And now the Cleveland Indians have defeated the Detroit Tigers 20 straight times, Ron. Go figure. In my lifetime, I can't remember a team being that dominant over another team. Anyway, conflicting information here, Ron. Detroit 5-1 on the road. The White Sox are very good on the road, but at home 3-8. And then you mentioned Matt Boyd. He's been absolutely horrible in 4 starts this year. with a 10.24 ERA.
Wow. Yeah, and the Cleveland bullpen. How about that bullpen?
Yeah, that's, you get behind on that team, you're shot.
Yeah, you're done. You're done. Put a fork in it.
Yeah, and they're starting. I mean, just imagine if Cleveland could actually hit. I mean, their starting rotation 1 through 5, you can make an argument is the best in baseball. You can make a valid argument in their bullpen right now. Other than the Oakland A's, might be the best bullpen in the American League.
Yeah. And you know what? And, we got to find some bright spot here for the Tigers. And maybe this is what they needed to get on the road, because they're 5-1 on the road, and the White Sox 3-8, 7-3-1 to the over. So, hey, we had their price today at -110. You're getting about +130. So you're getting value with the Tigers. I'm not ready to jump off that bandwagon yet of Detroit. You're facing another B-type team in the so here's the good news for the Detroit Tigers. This season at home for the White Sox, anytime they face a team that's 50% below in the standings, so a C-type team, Ross, 0-4 straight up, 3-1 to the over. So Detroit over could be a lean.
Yeah, I would look at that more. I mean, I would have a hard time, Ron, backing Matthew Boyd right now, who has been horrible in his 4 starts, like I just alluded to.
Yeah, maybe the over. Look at Gonzalez in his last 3-0 for the White Sox.
And then also Boyd 1 start against the White Sox this year, and he allowed 7 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings. So I would lean more. I'd have to look at the weather conditions, meaning not to get too caught up, but it's always when you're looking at a total, I want to know which way the wind's blowing, Ron, especially in the windy city of Chicago.
Yeah, well, according to my sources here, 1% rain, 76% wind, 7 miles left to right.
Yeah, so
we'll see. Hey, how about that for the rain report? Just bringing you the Weather Network right on the fly.
We're meteorologists, too.
Yeah. Kansas City taking on the Minnesota Twins. The Twinkies, a -167. I got to stop doing that, calling the Twinkies and Cubbies. It sounds like an 18-year-old prep guy. -167 for Minnesota. The over-under set at 10. The over okay, let me take 2. The ATS forecast has the Twins winning 7.32, 4.78. The over-under at 12.1. So, man, it does like a high-scoring game. 82% chance of this game going over the total. But, yesterday, Mr. Under there, was it Dobnak yesterday or the day before?
Yes, Dobnak,
yeah, man. This guy's his ERA is phenomenal.
He's a hidden gem. You know?
A
lot of people have heard about. You had him. I had the under in that game yesterday. As much as the overs have been cashing in, I picked a good spot to go under in that game. Minnesota's bullpen, Ron, at home, a 103 ERA. And Minnesota's been real good at home to start the year, 9-2 at home. And that includes 8-0 at home if they allowed 2 runs or less in the previous game, which they did. They're coming off a 4-2 win. Your man Bubik on the mound today, 0-3 with a 5.40 ERA. And Matt Wisler, this is the only thing that would make me hesitant here. Matt Wisler is making his first start of the season, Ron, and I usually stay away from games in that situation.
Yeah, but you know what? We're in a neutral market according to the SBI, and Chicago at home against C-type teams, 4-1 straight up, 1-5 to the under. Minnesota. And for the Kansas City Royals, 4-5 on the road against alpha-type teams, but 2-8 to the under.
I made a mistake, Ron. Minnesota's 9-2 at home, and I said that they won yesterday 4-2. Yep. They're 10-1 under the total in those 11 games at home, and 8-0 under if they allowed 2 runs or less in the previous game.
That's correct. I saw that there. So okay, so but here's the thing, right? The genie's out of the bottle. Everybody knows the under in Minnesota is a pretty solid play.
Yeah. And Minnesota's another team. If they get the lead on you at home, good night, Irene.
Yeah, good night, Irene.
With that bullpen at home this year.
All right, the second doubleheader today, Ross, at 8:15 between the Cubs and Cardinals. We'll just whistle by this one. 7.32, 4.78. The over/under at 12.1. Again, doubleheader, and for me and Ross, we don't like to touch doubleheaders, but hey. If you do like it, you can get the full rain report for those games at atsstats.com. San Diego taking on the Texas Rangers. and Texas 10-10 now. Here's a quiet 10-10 that they've really had to work hard to get there. That 10-10, coming off a loss in Colorado 10-6, and now they're facing San Diego team who I thought I was on them Friday night, Ross, against Arizona, and then I got off them the rest of the weekend because there's something with his Padres team that just I couldn't pull the trigger on them. 5 straight losses. Losing to Robbie Ray yesterday, that kind of hurts. Now they're sending Zach Davies to the mound today against Jordan Lyles of the Rangers. And looking at the forecast, 5.07, 4.8, over under 9.87. However, a lineup like this cannot lose forever. They got a 76% chance of winning against 42 for Texas. You know what, Ross? If there is those small favorites we talked about, maybe this is a spot here for San Diego.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't go against the streaks, and I probably going to pass on this game. Two teams, they're headed in the opposite direction, as Ron alluded to. The Padres on a 5-game skid, while Texas has won 7 of their last 9. And the San Diego bullpen, by the way, folks, their last 7 games, a 7.77 ERA as a staff.
Wow. Yeah, no, just looking at some of the stats here to see if there's any trends for the totals.
Again, Ron, I keep bringing up bullpens, and I can't emphasize it enough. Like I alluded to on Friday, you have to account for the bullpens more so now than in any previous year. Starting pitchers are averaging 4.85 innings pitched per outing, which means bullpens are they're right now being relied on as heavily as they ever have. So keep an eye on those bullpen ERAs and whips, and also keep an eye on how they've done over their last 7 games recently, because sometimes you may be misguided by looking at their ERA and whip for the season and not look at what they've done the last 7 games. So just a handicapping tip there.
And you bring a great point, Ross. Like, this ain't a normal baseball season, right? This is a shortened season. There's a lot of
double headers,
right? A lot of double headers, a lot of strategies being played. Yeah. You're seeing relievers come into starting games more. You got a new ballpark in Arlington. Looking at the stats here at home games for Texas, in their home games, they're averaging – the average score is 3.55 and 3.45, so very balanced. And it's just an indication of the record, 10-10. And look at the over-under, 10-10 to the over-under. Man, you don't get more balance and teeter-totter than that. So and from a betting
same thing with San Diego. Look, 11-12 and 10-13, which is pretty balanced.
And this is why I'm going to take a look at the total today. The Kogo's at 60%. We have it at 9.87. Zach Davies, Jordan Lyles, that's not Randy Clemens, Randy Johnson and Roger Clemens going today. But man, just showed my age right there, right?
Yeah. Zach Davies has been, just keep in mind, Zach Davies has been pretty good in his 3 starts this year. But the San Diego bullpen right now, how could you rely on them the way they're pitching? And also the other thing too, Ron, is you touched upon the low scoring games at this new ballpark in Arlington. It's not like the old ballpark, which was a hitter's haven.
Well, the total tells you that right away.
Exactly.
Like, the average total in Arlington was like 10.5.
Yeah.
Just a point underneath Colorado's totals.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's one thing, when I handicap, I go look at the cycle of totals. And, we say it all the time. We don't need to look at the lineup to let you know what's going on with a team. The total will tell you what's going on with that team, because the total involves both teams.
The total will tell you a lot about the starting pitching matchup. The total will tell you a lot about how the bullpens are doing and how each team is hitting as well.
Exactly. Colorado taking on the Houston Astros. Now the Houston Astros are 11-10. Finally got back over 500. They're sending Brandon Bielak here today up against Kyle Freeland of the Rockies. The bookmakers have made Houston a -152 favorite. The over-under is set at 9.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick, going to lean with Colorado, 4.24, 3.8. The over-under at 8.04. Chance of winning does favor Colorado, who are 13-8 at 52%, Ross, and Houston, 24% chance of winning, and that's because they're on a 4-game winning streak right now. Our line on this game, -132, so bookmakers are trying to get 20 extra bucks out of you here. A lot of value on Colorado in this spot.
I think so too. As a matter of fact, the Rockies have been better on the road than they have at home, which is unlike past Rockies teams. And the Rockies bullpen has always been better on the road than at home for obvious reasons at Coors Field, but not the drastic difference in the numbers between home and away this year is more so than it has been in any other year. And then the Houston Astros, as Ron just alluded to, what'd you say? They won the last four, Ron? And I think all four of those were against Seattle, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll have to.
Yeah, they're coming off a series against Seattle.
Yes,
so
correct.
Yeah, you can't get too caught in it. And they won a couple low-scoring games against Seattle. So I wouldn't get too caught up with that. Seattle's not a very good team right now, and it goes to Ron's strength of schedule and infiltrating that into your handicapping process. So,
but hey,
go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to bring this thought before I lose
Sure.
it. The Colorado 6-1 as a road underdog this year.
Yeah.
But the key stat here is not the 6-1, the run against 1.86 run against in a road dog role this year.
Yeah. So Kyle Freeland, not a bad pitcher either. I'd have a small lean here on the Rockies, Ron.
Yeah, so do I. And the unders look good too, but the Kogo's at 59%. So I agree, Ross. I think if the users, the people watching the show here today can put two and two together, Colorado's a pretty solid play here on the podcast. Now, Oakland taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, the Athletics, a -105 price. Now, I had a great stat on this. I'm going to bring it up while you talk about this, Ross. I think it's the total. I think the total is like a perfect 8-0 when the price is -105. I'll do a little bit of research on that. When the
8-0 to what? The under or over?
Yeah, the over. I think it's the over.
Okay.
And you know what? I'll let you carry on here, and I'll try to find that. Now, before I do that, 4 straight up wins. Like these are two hot teams right now. Both are on a 4-game win streak. The Oakland A's, man, they're probably the top team right now in the American League. Hard to say that against the Yankees, the way they're playing. But 16-6 on the year, 42% chance of this game going under the total. But Ross, this is going to be a pretty good matchup for tonight game between Arizona and Oakland.
Yeah, Oakland coming off a 3-game sweep at San Francisco, which was culminated with yesterday's 15-3 blowout win. But how about those wins on Friday and Saturday, folks? The A's came from 4-5 down in the 9th inning. The last one on Saturday night, they got a 3-run homer with 2 outs in the 9th to take the lead in that game, and then ultimately close it in the 9th. And then on Friday, they scored, I believe, 4 or 5 in the 9th. I can't recall, but a substantial deficit to tie that game and then win in extra innings. And then, of course, again, I was so close to taking Oakland yesterday because teams that come off those types of deflating losses on consecutive days, like the Giants, it's hard to imagine their mental makeup is very good going into the next day. And Zach Gallen, I really like this guy, Ron.
Yeah, you mentioned them a few times.
Yeah, he's a very good young starting pitcher, and I believe he's going to be a star. The only thing about watching him pitch, you remember Mike Hargraves? Used to play for the Indians. They used to call him the human rain delay because that was before the days where you had to keep the batter in the batter's box. He could only step out once or whatever. Yeah. Back then, Hargraves would step out of the box, play with his socks, play with his pants, and it was like every at-bat was a 10-minute at-bat. Well, Zach Gallen, when men get on base, especially a man gets on first, you'll see him throw to first base a million times. And, of course, I'm exaggerating, but quite a few. Yeah. And so be prepared when Zach Gallen starts on the mound, Ron, for a long night, meaning hours.
So, Ross, I did find that stat. Now, folks, by being a member of ATS Stats, we have a super database where you go to MLB, and I did any team that's a pick 'em to -105 price this season, go get the search. Check this out. 0-8 to the under. So,
wow.
Wow.
And this is a good pitching matchup for that to happen, Yeah. Chris Bassett, you can argue he's probably the best Oakland, even though he hasn't pitched up to snuff this year. The A's are 4-0 with him and 3-1 under the total. So, I mean, this looks to be like a low-scoring game from every angle. Oakland's bullpen we talked about who are we just talking about their bullpen, how good it's been?
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oakland, if you look at Oakland's number, they're better, you know? So,
Yeah.
again, we're looking at that small market team in Oakland that not a lot of people are looking at right now. And they might be a dark horse, Ron, if you're looking to make a futures bet, either as the American League winner or a World Series winner.
Yeah, let's see where this total closes tonight. But everything indicates, you got two pitchers with under records. You got the Kogo at 42%. Like a lot of indicators here pointing towards the under.
And your neutral thing on the over and unders. I mean, you look at Oakland 12-10 over the total, and Arizona 10-11-1 under the total. So pretty even numbers there.
Yep, should be a good. Like you said, hopefully Gallen keep it under 4 hours. San Francisco taking on the Angels. Now, Angels coming off an 8-3 loss yesterday over the Los Angeles Dodgers, but, they had to face Dustin May in his wiffle ball up against San Francisco here. The over-under set at 10. San Fran coming off a big thumping here over Oakland, 15-3. ATS forecast does like the Giants here, 6.38, 4.5, over-under at 10.8. Now, the thing that surprised me with this LA Angels team, Mike Trout, okay, he's been having a great since the birth of his child, been having a great run here. How come the team doesn't pick up off that and start playing better? How can you be on a 4-game losing streak when you got Mike Trout in your lineup?
Yeah, it's hard to figure. There's something, chemistry isn't right there in LA, being in Anaheim, I should say. I think some of it has to do with the pitching, some of it specifically the bullpen, and just a uneven performance line from day to day, lack of consistency, Ron, across the board. In San Francisco, you mentioned they're coming off that 15-3 loss, and I also touched upon they blew two big leads in the 9th inning on Friday and Saturday night against Oakland, coming off that home 3 sweep. So these guys are going to have their daubers down going into this series.
I know. I had one of those games. I had the San Fran Friday night. That was part of my offer night. And they did it. The worst part is they did it again on Saturday night.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, and that's what I mean. Like, I got off them and I got off San Diego. I said, fool me once,
They had a 2-run lead with 2 outs in the 9th on Saturday evening and gave up a 3-run homer with 2 outs in the 9th.
Hey, what's that saying? If you bet on San Fran this weekend, if you bet them on Friday night, shame on them. If you bet them on Saturday, shame on you.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. And if you bet them on Sunday, you should have your head examined.
Yeah. Yeah, no, then you stop betting.
Yeah, exactly.
Start talking, let's say playing checkers or something. Seattle taking on the LA Dodgers. Now, here's the crazy price we're talking about. And, don't be surprised you start seeing run lines and taking off the money lines in some of these games. Yeah. I give it another 2 weeks if this continues. Minus 290 is the price. Over under set at 10. ATS forecast. Peter pick. Gonna lean with the Mariners. 4.88, 4.57. The over under at 9.45. Looking at the chance of winning, 15% for the Dodgers, 85% for the Mariners. And looking at Justin Dunn up against Ross Stripling. I saw Dunn in his last start. Didn't look too bad, actually. 5 straight up losses for Seattle. 44% chance this game going over the total. Now, people are looking at this and saying, are you out of your mind? 4.88, 4.57 for Seattle. LA is going to take a sweep. This is what I love about baseball. You're probably going to play 3-4 games. Hopefully you can win at least one of those 3 or 4. It's not like football where you're going into somebody's field on a Sunday. You just got to pick your spots. But I don't think we're in a season to start trying to pick underdogs here, especially in the bull market.
Not in the climate we're in right now. It is according to the SBI. The Dodgers on the road, Ron? The record?
The Dodgers 10-2.
Yeah, 10-2 on the road. So enough said.
Yeah, enough said right there. Yeah, and on that note, let's.
And at home, the record.
At home for the Dodgers, they are. I'll bring that right up here. 6-5.
Yeah, so they are beatable at home so far. But remember, this is a Dodgers team that's played close to 700 baseball at home since the beginning of last year.
Yep. And if there is and then there's progressive betting that you can do, like if you ever want to take a chance on a series like this, what progressive betting is, say you bet a unit on Seattle and they lose, then you bet 2 units the next day. If they lose, then you bet 4 units. But that's a dangerous way of betting.
Yeah,
And
especially on a team that's 0-5.
Yeah, and you know what? I've done that in the past. It does work sometimes.
But not in a mismatch like this. I would not recommend it. I mean, look, the Dodgers are 6-5 at home, as we just touched upon. But sooner or later they're going to go on a torrid run at home. And this is a Seattle team that's just coming off a sweep at Houston. Not a very good road team at all. Not very. Their bullpen is terrible. And against a high-powered offense like the Dodgers, I just would steer clear of this game. If anything, I would look at the run lines on the Dodgers because the favorites are coming in at such a high rate, or look at the total, one of the two.
And the reason I say that is it's a form of wagering money.
Right.
But I wouldn't do it either and only on one fact.
So I'm not cutting down what Ron's saying by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't think this is the type of series you dabble into that.
Yeah, and the reason why I say that is because Seattle averaging 2 runs 4 in the last 5, 1.3 in the last 3, and only 3 runs in the last 10. So Seattle's not a big hitting machine.
No.
Now, Ross, we're going to go right into the 80% club here.
Okay. And I also have just to remind you, I have a nice system. Money line betting system that I'd like to touch upon.
Okay. So looking at we're going to go to the Marlins game here. When the Miami Marlins are a 120 to 140 home underdog coming off a 2-game losing streak the last 10 years, 112-0 to the under. Astros 12-1 as a home team coming off a 4-game win streak the last 3 years, and pretty good solid stats right there, Ross.
Yeah. Like I said, the only thing I would shy away from on the under with the Marlins, which makes sense to me, is the fact that Yamamoto, since the beginning of last year, is 9-0 to the over at home. And the Astros, they've won 4 straight. So,
yep. And your system, Ross?
As far as it applies to the Toronto and Baltimore game, and it goes like this. Right now, the Baltimore Orioles are a plus 120 home underdog, if I'm not mistaken, Ron. And Alex Cobb is a pitcher today for the Orioles. Is that the right line, Ron? Somewhere in there?
Yeah, I'm just going to bring it up right now. So, so the line is minus 136 for Toronto.
Okay, so probably you're right. If you're looking at a 20-cent line.
Sorry, okay, no. So, you got 137, you got 142, 145, 140. So you're in that
Baltimore's
ballpark.
A home underdog, basically.
Correct.
And that's all I need to know. And they're an underdog of 100 or more, plus 100 or more. All right, so Alex Cobb for the Orioles, 4 starts this year, a 2.75 ERA. And he also is only averaging 4.9 innings pitched per start. Again, going back to why we got to look at the bullpens a lot, but nothing to do with that here. Anytime you have an American League home underdog of plus 100 or greater, and their starting pitcher has an ERA of 4.20 or better, Cobb is at 2.75, and their starting pitcher averages less than 5 innings per outing. Which he's averaging 4.9. Those home underdogs have gone 28-10 since 1997. That's American League home underdogs, 28-10 since 1997. That's 73.7%. And guess what, Ron? The average money lines in those 38 games, plus 123.1. Okay, and if you look at today's line, very close to that parameter. So just something to keep an eye on. Not saying I'm going to use this play today, but, it's a pretty good betting system that supports the home underdog, American League home underdog, Baltimore Orioles today.
No, I like it. The Toronto Blue Jays right now are trying to find themselves as a club, and Bichette's out. Yeah. And, there's not a lot of confidence in that lineup right now. They don't do well. Haven't done well.
It's interesting. Baltimore just not getting any love. I mean, it's now Toronto's 7-11 on the season, and the Orioles are 12-9, and yet they're a sizable home underdog against Toronto today. So, it's something you might want to give a serious look to. And Ron always says, shop for value. You got a winning team as a home underdog against a road team that's below 500. So that's a pretty good starting point for looking for home underdog value.
Yeah, solid play, Ross. I love it. All right, guys. Again, you can get Ross Benjamin's plays each and every day right here at atsstats.com. Or where else can they find your plays, Ross?
At my website, rbwins.com, rossbenjaminsports.com. Again, not to blow my own horn, but you have to because nobody else will, and except for my buddy Ron. And my Major League Baseball plays 23-9 with my last 32. Not bad, folks. And those of you who follow me know I do not give out big chalks. And also over the last 19 days, I've won 15 of those 19 days. And my record during that period of time in all sports with my paid selections, 36-17. That's rbwins.com, rossbenjaminsports.com, or go to my buddy Ron's site, atsstats.com. You can find my picks right there, Ronnie.
Right on, buddy. Yeah, that's for sure. They can get them all here or at your website. And yeah, I'm having a pretty good weekend here. Went 6-0 over the weekend. Used some proper money management after going a little bit of a hiccup on a road bump there on Friday and Thursday and Friday, but right back on track. And like Ross says, our selections will not, if they lose, they won't break the bank because we're not betting minus 200. We're not betting, and we use proper money management and we pick our spots. If there's one thing, if you do track us, and one thing I'll recommend, Ross, is to the members and clients who are watching this show, try, instead of a one-day, try it for a week just to see the pattern of how we bet our selections each and every day. And this way, if you come back, you come back. If not, and if it wins, then you have an idea on how we do it. And we're not saying that we have the crystal ball and we can make you have a bank sign in front of your window there. But you know what? We've been doing this a long time, and we do know what we're talking about, and we've done pretty well.
Even on our free picks, Ron, we're not giving out free picks to just pad our record and chasing 200 and above favorites. I saw that. We just discussed that. I'm not going to mention the handicapper. No. It is a popular site, but I've watched 3 videos in the past week with this one specific handicapper who's given out favorites of 200 or more twice, and another time a 163. We're not. My point is not to pick on those people, but we can only be accountable for what we do, and we don't do that.
Yeah, and folks, the reason sometimes you say, how come you don't give free picks on these videos, is because in the morning when we prepare for these shows, we're preparing for the show and we're doing our handicapping, and we don't want to force selections on you guys on the show just for a reason of giving a pick. So that way, we can say, oh, look, at least we gave a pick. If you do follow us at our website, go to atsstats.com. There's a free pick link. We will post free picks on our website or on rbwins.com, but they'll be later in the afternoon. And the reason why I said it is because we don't want to force selections on the show just for the purpose of giving out a pick. That's why we give out our systems, which are indicators, and it'll lead to those probably one of our top plays. Like, I might lead to the under in the Marlins game today, or you might lead towards a free play on the Orioles. But anyways, I just want to get that disclaimer out there. And again, Ross, great show today. Always a good way to start a Monday, talking some NBA and the NHL. Keep rolling along. It's going to be a fun day watching sports today, Ross.
Every day is a good day when there's sports available, and we appreciate that more now than ever after what we've gone through here in 2020.
Absolutely. For Ross Benjamin, I'm Ron Raymond. This was the Raymond Report Sports Betting Podcast Show with Ross Benjamin for Monday, August 17. Hopefully you guys have yourself a great rest of your day. As always, shop for value, play those percentages. We'll see you back shortly with another Raymond Report.